Well, the Fed did the unthinkable. He did the unthinkable, guys.
What?
The Fed raised rates by another 25 basis points. Who saw that coming? Look, he's been following the predictions that I've been telling everybody that he's going to continue to raise rates because he has to, right? That is the biggest thing, guys. I just want to make that clear. He has to raise rates to slow down demand. And not only that, but to get to his goal of 2%. So you can't do that if you're just sitting on your hands.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
Even though I think the Fed really does want to sit on his hands and ride this out and do a bunch of pauses and decide. But before we jump into it, guys, my name is Orlando. Welcome to the channel, guys. We have some really good information here. But before we do that, look in the description. I have a course for real estate for investing for beginners and a YouTube course. Please check it out. Also, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. But let's jump into it, guys. It says here, the Federal Reserve raises key interest rates to the highest level in more than 20 years. What? If that doesn't spell out what's actually happened, write it out on the blackboard that everything is okay. The economy, there's nothing wrong with going on with the economy. Inflation,
forget about it.
It's not really doing any damage. You know, when you go to the pump or when you go to the grocery store or when you try to do anything that has to do with real estate or services of getting something fixed in your home, those costs aren't elevated. We all know that. We all live in the real world, right? And based on what the Fed is saying now, today, they're saying everything's A-okay, but they raised interest rates. The Federal Reserve announced Wednesday that it had raised its key interest rate by 0.25% to as much as 5.5%, the highest level in 22 years, as it continues to fight persistent inflation in the U.S. economy. Based on what the Fed said in their meeting, that they no longer see a recession in the future of the U.S. economy.
Wait, what?
That's what they're saying. I didn't say that. They said that. So don't shoot the messenger. This soft landing narrative that they continue to push forward and forward and forward by continue to say to you guys, everything is okay. Don't worry about what we're seeing with job losses. Don't worry what we're seeing with super high prices and unaffordable homes. Don't forget about that. Don't forget about insurance and property taxes. All of these things are just skyrocketing. Don't worry about any of that. We have it all under control because, guys, we're going to land softly. And at the end of the day, it will feel like none of this stuff ever happened. They're going to do the Men in Black thing where they put it up to your face and you will forget that this ever even happened. And then it says, though consumer prices have declined for 12 straight months in June, consumer prices increased 3% year over year, even though that's the lowest that the inflation rate has been in more than 2 years. It's still too high for the Federal Reserve, which looks to wrestle increases down to 2%. Let's get this straight. The 3% is that CPI report that includes gas and energy that they're manipulating. That 3% isn't the real number. If you look at core inflation, it's almost 5%. So there's a big 2% difference. Let's not even talk about housing. Housing is at 7.8%. So where are we knocking inflation down to? I mean, especially for individuals who are watching this channel and thinking, Orlando, I'm trying to buy a home. Where's this magical decline in inflation? I'm not seeing it when I'm buying a house. I'm not seeing it when I'm trying to do things to maintain a household by getting things fixed. Services are high. I'm trying to buy a new car and that inflation is still high too. Where are we seeing this imaginary inflation? Well, the inflation is really coming in on gas prices and energy and food. That's all being subsidized by the government. And so, listen, I'm not saying that we don't want groceries and gasoline and energy to be cheaper because we all do. But we all have to understand that the 3% CPI report inflation is not real. It's not the real inflation, even though they're using that number.
This is delusional.
And here's the thing, guys. I want inflation to come down. I want inflation to come down that 2%. I want things to be cheaper and affordable. I'm not wanting to go into the Great Depression. I'm not wanting us to go into a recession. I'm not wanting any of that. But But prices need to come down, and unfortunately, that will be the side effect of the economy going down. A recession, I believe, in my opinion, is going to happen. It's inevitable. I mean, I see red flags everywhere. And if you haven't seen those red flags, you can watch my previous videos where I show you multiple instances where that is the case. And I think it's going to get worse and worse as we go on. But here's the thing that you guys want to really know. You guys want to know, how will this affect me buying a home? Well, let's take a look at interest rates right now. For a 30-year fix are 7.87%. That's for a 30-year fix. They're fluctuating up and down. I think we can get closer to that 8.5%. Maybe on a good day, 8.1, 8.2. That's just in my opinion. But here's the thing. This is one of the things that I want to knock home. What did the Fed say about more rate increases? Well, the Fed is saying that they're not taking that off the table. They're not taking off the table that they will have multiple rate increases throughout the year. They're saying that they really want to get to that 2%, which I have stated is going to be very hard, and it will get harder the closer you get to that 2%. It's going to get tougher and tougher. And for that to happen, you're going to have to stop a lot of spending. A lot of spending. People are out here still buying Teslas and Lamborghinis and taking trips to the Maldives and Bali and Bora Bora. No joke. People are still doing this, and they're using credit to do it, even though credit is ridiculously high right now. People are paying 26, 27, 28% on personal debt, on credit cards.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
And people are buying things not things that they need, but they're still on the edge of wants. Things like computers and iPhones and televisions. These things are getting higher in cost, and people are still buying them. They have no problem buying it. This is what the Fed is trying to stop. All of this demand that's in the economy, we need to drain it. And for that to happen, rates are going to continue to go higher and higher and higher. We may even get to 9.5%, 10%, depending on what's going on with the market, depending on what's going on with the economy. I think the core factor that will really stop the Fed from raising rates will be jobs. If we get a jobs report that show that people are losing their jobs, that income is being drained from the system, meaning if people don't have income, they can't spend, which will halt that demand, then I think that's when they're going to really pause it. Now, another question that I really want you guys to look at. If the Fed was going to raise interest rates and then say that we're going to continue to raise interest rates later, what made them pause last month? What made them pause last month? What did they see? The question is what did they see in this data that they didn't see in last month's data? The Federal Reserve is in charge of balancing unemployment and inflation. Right now, unemployment rate is at 3.6%, remains historically low. The Fed believes it can slow the economy to reduce inflation without causing people to lose jobs. And I think when they saw the number of more jobs being added and added and added, they thought to themselves, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. And I know what the Fed is always saying, and especially when they're putting out in the media. They're always saying, we're going to bring down inflation down to 2% and no one's going to lose their jobs. Now, if you believe that, guys, if you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. It just doesn't make sense. How can the Fed continue to raise interest rates, putting pressure on companies to borrow money at ridiculous prices of what they could have borrowed it 2 years ago, and think that companies will not lay people off first? I'll wait. Give me the answer. It's not going to happen. These companies will lay you off first and think about what they're going to do later. That will be the number one thing that I always tell you guys that companies will do, and that's what's going to happen. So this is no different. The Fed is just telling you one thing to make you not panic and make you say,
oh, the Fed is going to protect me. Did you hear what the Fed said? The Fed said that we're not going to lose our jobs.
And then Ford comes along and says, I don't care what the Fed told you. I just had to borrow money at 9%. If I have to borrow money at 9%, someone's going to take the hit, and it ain't going to be me. It's going to be you. So as always, guys, we'll see what the Fed continues to do, and I will keep you up to date on all of this craziness. But as of right now, we got more rate increases, and it's looking like there's more rate increases to follow. And as always, guys, I hope you got value out of this video, but you won't get all of your information from this one video. I'm gonna need you to watch this video here. I promise you, it will help you learn about what's going on in the housing market, get into your first rental property, and learn about financial news. And I promise you, the information you will get from those videos, it will be gold. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.